Are you struggling with your body image and your weight? And does it feel like you've tried absolutely everything, every diet that there is, all the intense exercise programs, even therapy, and you're still very unhappy with the way you look? In this video, I'm going to teach you exactly how I transform my body without dieting, without obsessive exercise, and I'm going to give it all to you in this video. I've helped women worldwide to break free of these lifelong exhausting struggles with their body image and relationship to food and instead transform into brazen confidence. You can be just like Lindsay, one of my recent clients who shared, I could barely live. I felt depleted and hopeless about everything in my life. I'd been talking to myself this way for 30 years and I couldn't function anymore. I told myself I was fat and ugly and nobody would like you. I felt dead. Now I live in Technicolor. Now I love and accept myself, my true authentic self. I eat healthy and consistently and have stopped this all or nothing mentality. I have loads of grace and compassion for myself, and this program gave me back my life in a way that I never thought possible. This is the work I've dedicated my life to and that I love. If you are struggling and you really want to overcome these struggles with your body image and food for good and finally step into the confidence you deserve, there is a link to directly speak to me and learn more about how I can support you to do exactly that. Now let's get into the video. Now first, I know you're going to want to see the photos. So I don't love doing a before and after because at this stage of my life, I truly don't have an attachment to how my body looks. But this is what my body looked like before I started doing this work. And then this is a photo of my body in present day. So I'm going to explain to you the exact changes that I made. And in order to do that, I'm going to take you back a tiny bit into my life so I can share with you what I was doing in this first photo. So I spent my whole life up until I was 30 years old obsessing over all the wrong things. I was struggling deeply with my body image. I had always had these really tortured thoughts about my body. I hated the way I looked no matter what I did. I was so obsessed with changing my body, thinking if only I could lose weight, if only I could change this part of my body, if only I could just now lose this amount of weight or change this part of my body, then I'll finally be happy. Then I'll finally ... fill in the blanks. I think you can all relate to this. I did those things. I went to great lengths to change my body. I tried every diet known to man. Like, you name it, I tried it. I was so diligent and so driven with these things. I even got to the point where I became a fitness instructor and I was exercising 3, sometimes 4 hours a day. And I still wasn't happy with the way my body looked. And things got to the point where, despite doing a lot of therapy, a lot of cognitive work, seeing psychologists, psychiatrists, trying CBT, EMDR, like I tried every type of therapy. I was so dedicated to trying to heal this because I knew it was ruining my life. I found myself staying at home, not wanting to go on vacation, feeling so unworthy that I thought no one would ever want to be with me, feeling like I couldn't be myself in relationships. This was ruining my whole life. And I always thought the solution was just, if you have a different body, you're going to be happy. I even went to the lengths of getting plastic surgery on a part of my body because I thought, surely then, if I have this part of my body sorted out, my confidence will be better. And again, that never happened. So one day I finally hit a rock bottom where, after over-exercising and pushing myself so much and feeling so haunted by these constant negative thoughts about myself and restricting so much and fearing food, and then finding myself binge eating uncontrollably at night, my body just started to change very rapidly, and I started to put on more and more weight and more inflammation. I started seeing other signs like insomnia, having really painful joints. I started finding myself just crying at all times of the day, feeling really dysregulated. And even though I went to go see different practitioners, I went to naturopathic doctors, I tried to fix my cortisol levels, I did all those things, I did the tests, I tried to fix SIBO. Like, I feel ridiculous saying this because it's just like, I did it all. I did it all. Even hired another personal trainer to try and put me on a different program to fix my body, but none of that worked. I just kept feeling more and more inflamed, more sad, more depressed, and it got to the point where I actually was just like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. This life is just too difficult. Like, I hate myself so much. I feel so disgusting. I don't want to leave the house. I just couldn't do it. I was like, there has to be another way, because this obviously isn't working. So I actually got down on my hands and knees and I prayed to the universe and I said, "Dear universe, God, whoever's out there, I need a solution. My life is not sustainable like this. I am so miserable. Please show me the way forward." And that's when everything changed. I finally learned that this fixation over my body and obsessing over my external appearance was destroying every avenue of my life. And it never made me happy. And it didn't matter how much I changed myself, how much weight I lost, or what my body looked like, those haunting negative thoughts still followed me wherever I went. So that is where I learned, number one, I've got to solve this issue of these internal negative thoughts. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, I thought you already did that. You went to therapy and did all this stuff. Didn't work. Had to use a different approach. So first of all, I learned how to really see this part of me that had these chronic negative thoughts as a part of me. Not all of me, not who Giulia is as a person, a part of me. I learned how to develop a relationship with this part of me where instead of hating it and trying to get rid of it, like a lot of therapy teaches us and concepts today, I learned I can't actually get rid of this part. And the more I try to get rid of this part, the louder it gets. And I learned how to develop a compassionate relationship with this part. I learned how to spot when I had these negative thoughts that I would hear on repeat. That's that part of me again. That's that part of me. I gave it a name. We developed a relationship. This is really, it was an incredibly life-changing practice that I went through in my life. So I learned very specific tools to actually rewire these negative thoughts and beliefs that I had about myself and my body. And I really learned to appreciate and have compassion for that part of me, given that we have so much conditioning that basically brainwashes this part of all of us. We each have this part. We each have a critical part. And that it wasn't this part of me's fault that it started thinking this way. How can we exist in a world with all of this conditioning and not end up having a part of us that's this critical? It's the negativity bias. We all have it. And so my point is that if you can actually understand that, number one, that it's a part of you, not all of you, you can actually work with a practitioner to support you in developing a healing relationship with this part of you, and have those appropriate tools to actually rewire those thought patterns, you can actually step into the confidence that you never thought possible. You can love yourself even if the body that you're currently in that moment isn't your ideal body type. And that's exactly what happened to me. I realized that all of these negative thoughts were so inflammatory and were causing me so much pain that they were not only dysregulating my brain, but my life, also my physiology, and causing me to be physically sick. And so many of us don't realize that. We just go right to the outside and we say, no, I just have to lose weight and that'll be the answer. But your brain is really what's polluting you and making you sick. Your body isn't the problem. Your brain, your mind is the problem. So that's the first thing that has to be worked on. And this is exactly what I do with my clients. And it's really revolutionary because, again, most people out there just think, well, this is just my inner critic. And if I just tell it to F off, I'll be good. But that's not how it works. We can't actually get rid of parts of us. They are always a part of us. We have to learn how to go from being in conflict with these parts of us to being in harmony with them. Because the truth is, this part of you that's super critical, it thinks it's helping you even though it's not. And this part, more than anything, is just looking for your love, acceptance, and understanding. And I realize it's really difficult to get to that place, especially on your own. It's near impossible, but with the right support, you can truly awaken the confidence that you never thought possible. And that was the first biggest gateway of healing in my life. That transformation of learning how to love and accept myself and to quiet those negative critical thoughts not only transformed my relationship with my body image. I started going outside, I started dating, I started going to the beach and actually feeling confident in my own skin and not hiding my body. And at that point, I hadn't lost any weight or my body hadn't changed. I just truly felt so good and confident and peaceful about who I was and about my body. And those actions then rippled forward into my life, speaking up at work, quitting my job, starting my own company, making more money, healing my debt, learning how to heal my relationship with binge eating. It all comes from this place of insecurity and unworthiness. And so when we can do that work to heal the mind, everything transforms around you. So that was the first part. Okay, so I'm going to give you a very quick lesson on the nervous system that is going to help explain everything. This is the polyvagal theory, and otherwise known as... Okay, I'm going to give you a very quick lesson on the nervous system, and I wanted to bring this picture up because I thought this would be much easier for you to understand than me just talking to you. So this is a graph that represents the different branches of our nervous system. And in a healthy nervous system, what happens is stress comes in and then we regulate and come back to feeling safe. Stress comes in, we regulate, we come back to feeling safe. Stress comes in, you get the point. And when we have struggles with our body image or relationship to food, we're people who chronically diet, or most people these days, because we live in such a stressed society with so much chronic stress, instead of having a regulated nervous system, which is healthy and functioning normally, we experience dysregulation. So we get stuck in these different branches of our nervous system. We either get stuck in the sympathetic or we get stuck in freeze, and we don't know how to come back out of it. And that has really intense consequences on our health. If you look over here on the right-hand side, you'll see the different things that happen when we are stuck in these different states. So when we're in freeze response, our heart rate decreases, our blood pressure decreases, our temperature, muscle tone, our social behavior, our sexual responses, and so on. And the similar experience for our sympathetic. If you're constantly in a state of anxiety, like I was about my body image, worry and concern about my body and obsessing over this, my blood pressure is high, my heart rate is high, I have high adrenaline, which, we know high cortisol levels, we're at risk for blood clotting, we hit all these different things. Our digestion goes down, our salivation goes down, our immune response goes down. And so when we're stuck in these different states, we can experience a lot of health consequences, which is exactly what was going on for me. Because I was so filled with anxiety about my body and panic and obsession, I was getting stuck in this state of my nervous system, which was then contributing to things like increased weight, because I had increased cortisol levels and inflammation, decreased metabolism because I was so stressed all the time, my body couldn't metabolize food, decreased sleep because I was so anxious, I couldn't sleep, and my hormones were all out of whack. And so my body was very clearly telling me, hey, this isn't working. My nervous system was responding in all these different physical ways to show me that there was a problem. But most people make the mistake of thinking, oh, if I have a symptom like weight gain, or I have a symptom like I'm not sleeping, I'll just individually fix each one of those symptoms by taking a pill or a supplement. And the problem with that is you're not actually getting to the root cause and fixing the problem. So for me, in healing my mind and really healing these anxious, worried, panicked, and depressive thoughts that I had about my body, all the shame I had about my body, I helped my nervous system to regulate and come into this safe social engagement place. And when I helped my body to come reliably back into this state, well, look what happens over here. We digest our food, we have intestinal mobility, we are resting and recuperating, we have proper circulation to our non-vital organs, we have oxytocin, which is our feel-good hormones, we can relate to other people, we decrease our defense responses. This is where we live, and this is where we feel things like joy. But in order to get here and to teach my body how to regulate and feel safe, not only did I have to heal my thought patterns, I had to change these behaviors that were really toxic, that were causing my nervous system to feel dysregulated, like the dieting, like the over-exercising, all of these things that were pushing my body into this sympathetic and later freeze response. I also had to learn very specific tools to teach my nervous system how to handle stress and how to feel safe every day. And unless we take care of our nervous system, we're going to be chasing symptoms for the rest of our lives, and we're still going to feel stuck. It's the same reason why many people are obsessively fixated on weight loss and they just try to diet, but they're wondering, why am I still so inflamed? Why do I still have gut health issues? Why am I unable to lose weight? Well, have you taken a look at your nervous system and what state it is in every day? this is a really key piece to healing. And this is exactly what I help my clients to do. And regulating your nervous system is complicated. It's not as simple as, oh, I'm just going to, do 5 minutes of meditation a day, because every person has a different capacity in their nervous system. And things like our past history of painful events and traumas and different things all affect our individual nervous system capacity. And when you struggle with your body image and your relationship to food, there's a lot of hurdles and even overcoming these fears that we have of changing those behaviors. A lot of people like me, even though I knew how toxic this all was, I still had a lot of difficulty changing my over exercising and my relationship to food, because I was afraid that if I made those changes, I was going to gain more weight. I was afraid of so many things. So it's complicated. But the take home message here is that in regulating my nervous system, in helping my body to come back into a place of safety, I was able to support my body in the most amazing ways. Not only did I move away from having daily anxiety and panic and depression and shame, to feeling joy, presence, groundedness, like this energy I transformed into the most amazing things in my life. I went from being in a place of constant shame every single day and living on the bottom of this vibrational chart, which you can see when we're stuck in sympathetic and dorsal energy. It can be a very low quality way of living. And when you regulate your nervous system and you learn how to spend more time in the ventral vagal branch, this is how you feel day to day. This is how you live your life. And that translates into everything you do, into your work, into how you support your care for your body, how you want to treat yourself, how you want to treat others, the people you attract, the friendships, the romantic relationships, everything. So when I finally started to have a regulated nervous system, I started to date. I started to change my career. I stopped over exercising and punishing my body. I learned how to have a healthy relationship with food. I stopped binge and emotional eating. And all of these practices completely transformed my body. And as I was saying in the beginning of the video, changing my body didn't happen from dieting. I canceled dieting. I stopped dieting. I started eating more food than I ever have in my life. So that theory didn't make any sense. I started seeing the most wild changes to my body just from regulating my nervous system clearing these toxic thoughts that I had about myself, learning how to truly have self-love and respect, exercising less, and eating more food. Things that we're generally never taught. So this is the importance of taking care of your nervous system. And this is the importance of really healing those toxic thoughts in the mind. Without those two things, we can't expect to see any changes to our body long-term that are sustainable, but more importantly, to your quality of life. I hope this video was useful for you. Please tell me what your top takeaway is. This is exactly what I support my clients with, healing their mind, healing their nervous system to not only transform their relationship with their body image and food, but to finally be able to live with the peace and confidence they've always deserved in their life, because our nervous system and our mind controls those things. So we cannot keep making the mistake of thinking, if I change my body and if I change what I eat, I'm magically going to feel more confident. Those things don't go together. You can't make external changes to yourself and your body and expect internal changes like self-worth and confidence. They just don't work. You have to do the inside work to create internal lasting changes, which ultimately do lead to those external changes. Nobody gets anywhere positive by continuing to hate themselves into change. It just doesn't work. So let me know what you're taking away from this. Remember that if you are really serious about getting the support you need, you can connect with me directly. There's a link below in the description to learn how I can support you into the confidence you truly deserve. And I will see you again next week.